Hi, welcome back to my channel. I thought Joe Biden's middle name was Daniel, and I've thought this for years. But apparently it's Robinette? I've been watching election coverage for years now, and I was alive for all of his time as vice president. And just now I'm finding out that Daniel isn't his middle name? I guess my bigger question is, where did I pull Daniel out of? It's an easily Googleable fact. And I just went, no, I know. Daniel's his middle name. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I managed to pull this charade on myself for 12 years. But I did it. One of my silver linings from quarantine is I got to play a lot of good-ass video games this year. Games that I definitely would not have been able to had 2020 gone on as previously scheduled. First off, Spider-Man for PlayStation 4. That's a good-ass game. Swinging around New York City really made me feel like Spider. Why did they change his face? Why are they giving him a new face now? It feels almost like bullying to give someone a new face. Peter Parker also just looks way younger now. I thought he was supposed to be a mentor to Miles, not the kid who sits behind him in Algebra 2. I played Dishonored, and that was a lot of fun. Stealth with a supernatural twist for when I mess up and have to teleport to safety. That's nice. The game opens with the dialogue.
The plague has taken so many, and we must find a cure.
A game about a pandemic which the largely male ruling class uses to consolidate their power despite calls for society upheaval really was a great escape from reality. I finally started playing Breath of the Wild, and that's gotta be my personal game of the year. Everything about that game is beautiful, from the melodies drifting in on the breeze, to the landscapes you'll traverse in search of puzzles, quests, and enemies, to the warm milk. Animal Crossing has been a ton of fun. My only issue is that you don't get a lot of the seasonal stuff until the actual holiday. So I didn't have that much Halloween stuff until Halloween. And then I had all the Halloween stuff. But now that Halloween's over, I don't need all the Halloween stuff because it's time for Thanksgiving. It's time for turkeys and Sprite cranberry. I still play a fair bit of Overwatch. I know. But I think that the game is in the best place balance-wise that it's been at in a long time. I played Mario 64 for the first time and died a bunch because I'm a fucking dumb baby who can't handle controls that don't hold your hand every step of the way. I'm gonna play Sunshine next, and then Galaxy, and then Odyssey. At some point soon, I'm gonna play The Last of Us 2, because now that it's been out for a while, whether I love it or I hate it, I know that there will be people on one side telling me I'm a genius with artisanal taste who knows everything there is to know about game design. And there'll be people on the other side telling me I'm a fucking idiot, dumbass, piece of shit degenerate who doesn't know anything and only cares about the gay agenda. The same way that people do when I tell them that The Last Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. But the game that I've spent the most time playing this year has gotta be Blaseball. It's a text-based baseball simulation game. And as you can tell from my Mark Portugal card hanging on my wall, I'm a huge baseball fan. The game looks like a baseball box score. It's got who's on base, balls and strikes, the inning, the score, the weather, etc. You rarely get more of a description than just ball, count is 2-0, or Richmond Harrison hits a single, 1 scores. But when you do get something different, it could be, I hardly think a few birds are going to bring about the end of the world, or the crabs collect 10. The black hole swallows the run, and a shoe thieves win. And because it's text-based, this gets to look however you want. There are 21 known teams from all across the world, everywhere from New York City to Breckenridge, Colorado, to a giant hellmouth in the middle of Utah. All that you as a player get to do is bet on the outcome of the games, or use your earnings to try and influence what will happen in the future of the league. And it's one of my favorite things that I've played all year. The way that it feels like a regular sports season is uncanny. Games take place every hour on the hour from Monday through Friday until a 99-game season has been played. Then on Saturday, playoffs take place and a new champion is crowned. On Sunday, there's an election, and this is where you use your earnings from betting to try and influence the league. And after the election, player stats are changed, or teams are changed, or new rules are added. And this is where all the ridiculousness that makes Blaseball, not baseball, occurs. It's an excellent substitute for a months-long off-season where player contracts are dissected for weeks to make up for the fact that nothing interesting is happening, but all the major sports leagues have networks dedicated solely to their existence. I talk about the poor management of the team like there's actually somebody at the helm making decisions when 98% of it is just random. I mean, we literally had 3 all-time MVP candidates on our team during the same season, and we couldn't win a championship because we have the worst pitching rotation in the league, save for maybe the team that routinely spits in God's face and tell themselves, oh, surely there will be no consequences for this action. And now, none of those MVP candidates play for us. 2 of them play for the same team that continues to have playoff success. Meanwhile, we haven't made the playoffs in 4 fucking seasons. There's a lot of silly names in Blaseball, like Randall Marijuana, or Jessica Telephone, or Bonk Jokes. And because the game is text-based, all of the lore around it is fan-generated. Bonk Jokes is a bunch of different bones put together, and sometimes someone will like draw a funny face on the skull, and sometimes the skull is upside down. It's good stuff. This also means there's a dense fan wiki, which is definitely a little bit intimidating, but it's not that different from traditional sports. Every team has star players and team chants and seasons they'll remember fondly and heartbreaking defeats. It's like any other sports league. There's also a ton of cool fan art on there, including some by yours truly. That's right, the original Blaseball card for Hendrix Richie Eat the Rich Richardson was designed by me. Yeah. Guess you could say I'm a pretty fucking good artist. But, like any player with any sort of potential, Hendrix Richardson was traded away from the Jazz hands. And that meant a whole bunch of new fans who wanted to make fan art for their team's new player. And yeah, it's better than anything I could have done. So what? Huh? But it's super cool how you can still see the Karl Marx beard and Richie Rich bow tie idea that I had in his current incarnation, even if now Hendrix Richardson is a dragon. I should also mention that a lot of the Blaseball players are not regular human people. Kathy Matthews is a sentient TI-83. Kennedy Cena is a combination of former US President John F. Kennedy and WWE superstar John Cena. And Top Fox is a fox. Why else would that be his name? There have been 11 seasons thus far, with the most recent one feeling kind of the same way as Spider-Man Far From Home. I loved it. I had a great time. But after watching an undead army of Blaseball superstars led by a giant squid hall monitor defeat an undead army of Blaseball superstars led by a malevolent peanut god, and then the squid eats the peanut and ends the discipline era, having a season where one team beats another for the championship as the ending kind of felt like an epilogue. It was fun to see a team win the first to 3 quarterfinals 3-1 in 2 games, win the first to 3 semifinals 5-3 in 6 games, and win the first to 3 finals 3-1 in 5 games. Blaseball is also very gay. And I don't mean that in like a derogatory 2008 sort of way. I'm pretty sure Hillary Duff would beat the shit out of me if she heard me say it like that.
What if every time something was bad, everybody said, oh, that's so girl wearing a skirt as a top?
Jessica Telephone, one of the most popular players in the league, is a lesbian with 11 wives and 25 girlfriends. Pedro Davids of the Ascended Baltimore Crabs is gay. And the San Francisco Lovers chant, "Be gay, do crimes," whenever any of their players steal a base. There are also a ton of non-binary players in the league. Conrad Vaughn, Stevens Leitner, August Sky, and Alden Cash Money are all players just who've been on the Jazz Hands, who don't fall into the binary. And the Jazz Hands mascot is a giant cryptid who lives on the side of a mountain and plays a trombone, and his pronouns are the same as the observers. So for me, the cryptid is a he, him, but for someone else, The cryptid might be a she, they, or a they, them. Or maybe none of what I've said is true. I personally choose to believe that Kennedy Sena's name is pronounced Kennedy Senna, and they are just an anthropomorphized version of the Kennedy Center Honors. They're a living event. I'm sure there are Blaseball fans who think that every single player is gay. I'm sure that there are people who don't think Baby Doyle is actually a baby. And I'm sure that there are people who don't think Alden Cash Money is one of the greatest players of all time. But those people are objectively wrong. I understand that Jessica Telephone and Nagomi McDaniel and Polka Dot Patterson are incredible players. But Cash Money has stats at or near their level, and Cash Money's name leads to incredible branding opportunities, and Cash Money had to spend a season playing for the Hawaii Fridays, a team where almost every single batter would be a better pitcher, and almost every single pitcher would be a better batter. I'm glad that Cash Money's on the Tigers now and that they have the opportunity to win a championship again. But if they ever want to come home to Breckenridge, our hands are ready. I call Blaseball a game because it is one. It holds my attention in ways that I think only video games can do. The Last of Us is one of my favorite games of all time. And I remember when I was playing through it in high school, I would talk to my mom about the characters and where I was at in the story. And I'd think about what was going to happen next, even when I wasn't playing the game. I talk about my Animal Crossing villagers like they're actually my friends. Like, oh shit, Mac's birthday's coming up in a couple of days. I gotta make sure I get them something. Same thing with Minecraft. I would literally take graph paper and draw out the city I wanted to make and go, okay, so there's gonna be sewers going through here and there'll be roads over here. So I can put my fields over here. I'll have like a blacksmith over here. I draw the whole thing out so that when I got home, I could actually do it. I think that's the thing that video games do better than any other medium, if they're good at it. To go back to what I said earlier about season 11 of Blaseball feeling kind of like Spider-Man Far From Home, there hasn't been an MCU release all year, following I don't know how many years in a row of there being 2 or sometimes 3 Marvel movies. And that's kind of like the weeks-long siesta we're in right now, where normally there's a new Blaseball game every hour of every day of the week except for Sunday. And the last MCU movie left my favorite character ever on a cliffhanger. And I have no idea what they're going to do next. Probably Spider-Verse, but I have no idea what they're going to do next. But I also kind of don't care. It's not the juggernaut that it used to be in my life. I think a huge part of why the MCU worked is because they were constantly putting out new stuff. Be everywhere always is a pretty good marketing strategy. It's not that I don't care anymore. I will probably watch Marvel movies on opening weekend for as long as they keep making them. But I've only ever seen Far From Home once. And I watched Homecoming 6 times just while it was in theaters. But with Blaseball's hiatus, I'm only getting more and more excited about what's happening next. A new era with tarot cards and a brand new team and new characters really excites me. And even though my team's not any good, and they won't be any good for at least a couple more seasons, I'm still hopeful. And I'm excited to see the story of Blaseball play out, both what the developers have written for it and what the community comes up with. Thank you so much for watching. I know this isn't really like my other videos, but I spent so much time watching and playing Blaseball, it didn't make sense not to make a video about it. I have a ton of ideas. I'm excited about what's coming down the pipeline in the coming days. I have a ton of ideas for videos for the next couple of months. So if you like this, or if you like my other videos, please subscribe. I'm begging you. I can't do a genuine outro. I'll be back with my regularly scheduled content next time. And by regularly scheduled, I mean a video about me making fun of something dumb that will come out sometime in the next 2 weeks. Again, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.